It is time for our weekly AMA. There's a frisky fox somewhere out there who should be joining us, but we're going to go ahead and kick off while we wait for him. Um, so we are going to do a few updates real quick here at the beginning. However, after that, we are going to try to catch up on some of these questions. We appreciate y'all's patience. I know we're a little bit behind on our questions just from volume and other things from AMAs. So we are going to see if we can't do some catch up today. But before that, we do have a few updates. I'm going to start out on the community side. So first and foremost, and I owe them an apology because I forgot to mention this last week when I meant to. ADFK, our friends at ADFK, Raff and Neindorf, have officially put out their mini game, Adventures Arcade, that includes use of DFK heroes. Very much appreciate them. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't had a chance to play it yet, I recommend it. But yeah, it's a good time. They did an event when they launched, which we announced. Shortly after this, I will also be announcing they're doing another event. Is it today? I think it's actually today. Whoops. I got my dates mixed up. Yes, it is today. So they will be doing another event tonight with their game. So definitely check it out if you haven't had a chance to. It's a lot of fun. But wanted to take a moment and appreciate them and send some love their way. It's really cool to see, heroes being used in different places. We saw it with Dragon's Crossing. We saw it with Fight Club. Now we have ADFK as well. So very excited for that and just wanted to take a moment to celebrate them. Also on the community side of things, if you've not seen it yet, Sergeant Filthy McNasty and Christian Peter will be hosting a DFK community meetup in San Diego on Saturday, November 18th. And I will actually be flying out and attending myself as well. I am accepting my fate and going to California, but apparently that's the only way I get to meet some of you. So I'm doing it. So if you are in the area and you are able to come November 18th, we are looking to have a good time. So I'm looking forward to that and excited for it. Appreciate Sergeant and Christian for organizing that and getting everything set up for it. Should be a really good time. And also on the community front, we have an update from Pieface, who we have with us today. Hi, Pie.
Hello. How's everybody doing? Awesome. So we've received some feedback and just on some merch related things. And we've seen over the years that people in the community have created some really great DFK related merch. And also even some guilds and squads have created some really cool items as well. And so we love our community so much and would love to return the love from all of you. So we will be creating a section on the merch store website dedicated to the community. And so this means that it will be a page on the merch website with links and images of your DFK community storefronts. And so now this is an open invitation for all of you to share your DFK related storefronts with us to add to the DFK merch website. So yeah, I think this is a really fun idea and very excited for this. I mean, very stoked for this. But in the future, we do plan to have merch collaborations with partners or with guilds, and those in particular would be posted directly to be purchased on the DFK merch store. So yeah, if there's some really fun ideas out there, like with partners or guilds, would be very fun to work on things like that. Because I know that there's a lot of, like, we want to feature our hero classes or we want to feature our pets and things like that, and other types of comfy things for us to rep DFK with. So happy to open up the conversation for those as well. But in the meantime, please reach out to us, either Bolon or reach out to me with links to your storefronts. I've seen a couple pop up and some from before and from the past, but once we've gathered a few of these, we'll share the page with everyone. So we'll keep you guys updated on that, and very excited to do something like this and add some more interest to our awesome DFK merch. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Pi, for sure. I love merch. It's a weakness. Let's see. One other update from me, more on the technical, quote unquote, side of things. We've seen a couple questions for Halliday and how to do like some of the basic functions that you're used to doing in MetaMask. So wanted to take a moment to address those here. Obviously, if you reach out to us in support or reach out to Halliday, you can get this answer as well. But trying to help spread the good word and the awareness so that you all can also help people. One of them was sending NFTs. Sending NFTs is still done just like normal. So you would use the barkeep to send heroes. The other one was sending tokens, because normally right now, if you wanted to send Jewel, for example, you open your MetaMask and hit send. But we actually added functionality specifically to accommodate Halliday wallets, where in your inventory screen up at the top, you have your balances. You have Jewel and Crystal and all of those. And those are clickable just like every other item in your inventory. And then you can send them from there. So if you're looking to send tokens, really any tokens, it's all done through your inventory screen if you are using a Halliday wallet, which actually I believe you can do that with MetaMask as well. But yeah, any of our tokens. So if you're trying to send Jewel or Crystal, you can do it directly through your inventory screen. So just wanted to touch on that for a moment and turn it over to Hubert to talk about hunts.
Hey guys. So yeah, a few different things. First off, just wanted to mention that we just finished our first iteration of adjustments to Warriors, the Warrior Skill Codex, to be more aligned with the other 3 classes and have that passed over to Beetle to start implementing. So making some good progress on getting that ready. Once it's implemented, we're going to be doing balance testing and whatnot. So still a little ways out, but it's making good progress there. Let's see. Also wanted to mention I've been reading a lot of different things on Discord about just reading all your guys' feedback, all your excitement, everything that's going on with hunts. It's been great. There's been a couple things I've seen in that that I might have mentioned last week, but I'll just mention again. That I recognize that some of the mechanics aren't very clear, and like how your stats are applying to your damage, how they're applying to your defense and whatnot, is not really clear, because right now the engine's not really showing the weapons that your heroes are using if they don't have something equipped. And also, if you do have a weapon equipped too, that is also kind of missing some information to help it be more clear about how it works. So I do plan to do a deep dive into some of those mechanics and explain how things work and share a lot of the formulas that kind of go behind the scenes. Some of those formulas are going to be, they're very mathy, so I'm sure most of you won't be very interested in that, but I know there are some in the community that like to sink their teeth into those things. So that is something I'm planning on. I can't say exactly when it's going to happen. We're kind of juggling a bunch of different things at the moment, so hopefully not before too long, though, just so that'll be out there for you guys to help as an additional resource in understanding how the system all works. So there is that. And then one other thing is I've been noticing a lot of people posting their single tier rewards, and I've been feeling a little bit bad about that system, and have been thinking about ways to improve the reward system in the hunts in general. So one thing we do have planned is just a kind of increase in how many tiers you can receive from hunts. And anyone that's done a hunt up until this point will receive kind of like a back reward for anything to kind of match the adjustment. So there's no need to like wait or anything for that to be implemented. You'll get an airdrop when that happens, and then we're also looking at an additional system to just give you another reward that you would be able to receive every fight. That would kind of help just like make it feel like you're making more progress and are a little bit less beholden to RNG. So there'll be more to come on that, but it's still a little bit out, several weeks I think before it will be out. But it'll be something that will apply to all hunts in the future, and not just the boar hunt, but other void hunts that we add. So just a general improvement to the overall system, and that too will have kind of a backfilling reward system as well. So any progress you make right now will be rewarded, and it may also come out that you get a little bit more than what the system actually will give you normally too. So again, no need to wait for that to come out. You will once it's there, you'll get an airdrop for how things change, but going to be a little bit mum on the details for now. Yep, I think that's everything. So
Appreciate you, Hubert. If you heard nothing else there, it was when we change things, we will backdate them when applicable, but especially on the reward side. So no need to wait. Let's see. And last but not least on our update list, we have Frisky Fox.
Hey guys, hopefully you can hear me okay. But yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Duels. Obviously, Duels Season 5 ended, and I think it was a huge success, and it was really fun to see the interaction with the new mode with champions and uh, all the additional aspects that sort of brought to like the whole experience with Duels. I think is really fun. Um, and I'm hard at work on Duel Season 6. I had a lot of really good feedback from some of our top players who were like very kind to reach out and created a doc for me that had a lot of really good feedback. So trying to implement as much of that as I can into Season 6. I feel like Apple, where every single announcement for like a new iPhone, they're like, "This is our best iPhone ever," and it's kind of like that with Duels. Every single Duels is our best Duel ever, and I'm excited about this one. But it's probably going to take a little bit of extra time, so not this next week, but I'm shooting to try and get it ready by the following one. So just a heads up there on when you might expect that. Of course, if there's any issues with testing or whatever, it could push that more. But at least you guys have a really fun new experience you can play with combat to tide you over until then. But yeah, just want to say thanks to the community for all the amazing suggestions, and excited for Season 6. Thank you.
Do you identify more with Steve Jobs or Tim Cook?
Oh man, that's a good question. I like to think of myself as a Steve Jobs, but I don't know.
Good answer. Awesome. With that, oh yeah, Steve Wozniak. That's a good shout out too. Dang. Yeah. Anyway, with that, we are going to move into some questions. So first question, actually the first few questions are going to be Hubert questions. So we're starting with Hubert Hour. Can you expand on the thought process for making the voids soulbound rather than a tradable piece of loot?
yeah, sure. So I think when we look at like Web3 and how everything is, you own your assets, you can trade them and whatnot. That does kind of create a problem when you're trying to reward gameplay, because like if the void shards were not soulbound, then someone could just buy the void shards from someone else, and then they don't really have to make the effort themselves. So with this system, we really wanted to encourage gameplay and participation of the player and rewarding the player specifically. And so I think it's best to think of the void shards kind of in the same way as like Sea Jewel, in that it's kind of a counter more than it's a token. I mean, it technically is a token in that it uses the same contracts that other tokens use, but like in general, it's more of a progress counter and a key to let you access additional content as you go forward. So it's more like data than it is something that's a tradable thing. And I don't think that's going to be the last soulbound thing that we release. I think there will be several more in the future that we do that kind of have that same feeling where it's more about your own as a player experience and kind of melding the two things together. With the void shards, they will be used to be able to get loot in the future that will not be soulbound. So I mean, it eventually would be some tradable. Like it can turn into something that's tradable. So like I guess that's something I guess to look forward to. But I think just in general, I see that would perpetually be a problem with rewarding gameplay if we didn't use some form of like data tracking or soulbound tokens to do things like what we're doing with this. So that's kind of the philosophy I have for it. Hopefully that all makes sense. And yeah.
Awesome. Appreciate you. Let's see. The next question for you. Thoughts on having the boar drop rate and or experience be partially based on the number of surviving heroes?
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I think I like that idea in general, but I think also it kind of limits people's strategies. Like I know a lot of people want to try to use different teams and do different things, and if we were kind of punishing people because two of their heroes died but they still succeeded, I don't know that would feel very great. I think in other RPGs that are just standard games, that's a pretty common thing where you kind of need to keep your characters alive, and those that don't get any XP, things like that. For this hunt, I don't want to do that. But when we have more content in the future, that's easier. That's like little easy fights. We may look at doing something where if your hero dies, it doesn't get experience, etc. But yeah, I think just in general, since this is our first foray into PvE content, and we made it especially hard just to give it some longevity. I don't want to punish people more than we already do.
Very nice. Makes sense. Let's see. Is it safe to assume that pet combat bonuses will be released before pet crafting bonuses?
Yes, yeah, that is very safe to assume, and something that we've been talking about fairly regularly. It is something, I don't think there's really any reason for us not to create those at this point. I don't. Now that we have the combat in place, we just need the time to, decide what all the different bonuses could be, and separate them by the different rarities, and then kind of set up the contract so that you can roll those bonuses and then be able to use them. So there's a lot of implementation time there and a little bit of design time as well. But it's something that's pretty high on my list. But the list is also kind of long, so can't say exactly when it will happen. But I would like it to happen sooner rather than later.
Whose list is longer, yours or Beatles?
Beatles for sure.
Granted, when your list gets into the mile range, we're kind of splitting hairs here, but
I have Zipper chomping away at my list from the bottom, so
there you go.
A little help.
Let's see. Equipment durability decay. So there's actually kind of a series of questions here, so I'm just going to hit them one at a time for you. Will each combat take away 1 point of durability, or is it RNG or something else? And actually, real quick before you answer that, sorry, to clarify here, durability is not currently turned on. So if you are getting loot from the boar hunt or your party hats or whatever the case may be, they are not losing durability yet. They will in the future. Everyone will know when that happens, but I just want to put that out there before we go into these questions. So anyway, will each combat take away 1 point of durability, or is it RNG or something else?
Sorry, I accidentally replied to someone, and I was all distracted by that. I meant to reply to Zip with what I just said. Anyway, yeah. So with durability, I think the current plan is, in general, once that is in place, is most content will just deduct 1 durability when used. But I think there could be some more extreme content that will require more durability per thing. And it could also be like where we have like a dungeon crawl or a bunch of consecutive fights that maybe each individual fight within there would be a durability hit. But yeah, that's still a little bit of a ways out before we do that. For us to get durability out, then we also need to have repairing out, and then there's an additional system that needs to be out as well for that. So I think for the time being, you can feel comfortable having very pristine, unchipped weapons that are just very good at cutting through bones and not getting worn down. But eventually it'll come, and we'll definitely be warning you guys when we get close to that. And we'll have more details about how that whole system will work as well once we get there.
Very nice. You actually ended up answering kind of a couple of them there. I am going to hit you with a couple more real quick, if you can answer them currently. Is there any way to lose durability outside of combat?
It's an interesting question. There might be. There might be. I can't say for sure.
Would you be able to use crafting to replenish an item's durability? So I think that might be getting more into the repair side of things.
Right. Yeah. At the beginning, I think we're going to have repairing just be done through something simple at first, but I do want that to shift to being handled by classes, or not classes, but by crafters. So it'd just be a means, like your crafting class could potentially gain a little bit of skill even from being in repair mode and just offering services to players. But that is a bit further down as we have more systems in place. So I don't want us to have to wait for that to get everything going. So in the meantime, we'll have a simpler system.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Let's see. All right. So it looks like I might be giving you a little bit of a break here, at least for a minute. So number of hunts, there was an announcement where we referenced 13,000 boar hunts, but the in-game counter is in the 8,000s. Can we share which is the real number? I can actually answer that, but if anybody wants to weigh in, they're more than welcome to. So the total number of hunts includes retries, but then the hunt ID number when you start a hunt, that number does not go up as you retry. It just adds retry 1, retry 2, retry 3, etc. So the total number of hunts will always be theoretically significantly higher than the actual number of the hunt ID. So DFK Quester, shout out to them, put together a leaderboard that does show the hunt numbers. It's on a little bit of a delay, but it gives you a pretty good idea. So like right now they're showing 18,535 total hunts, of which 5,386 have been won at a 29% win rate. So if you haven't checked out that website, I recommend it. It's super useful. But Magnus, do you know where we're at blockchain wise at the moment?
Yeah, I just pulled those numbers a little while ago. So we are at 10,485, and these are already out of date by probably like 30 minutes or so. But yeah, 10,485 hunts started. We've had about 700 or so canceled. Retries are 11,803. And so if we do started minus canceled plus retries, that's 21,590. And then of those, of that total number, we've got 5,446 wins out of all that. So roughly about 25% ish win rate.
Very nice. Yeah, so like pretty in line. It's a little bit delayed on Quester, but that's normal. But it gives you a pretty good idea of where we're at numbers wise, which is really cool. That also means that over 100,000 crystal and over 10 million, over 10.5 million, I think, gold have been used, which is also super cool to see. All right. Oh, let's see. So, being able to use a stamina pot from the hunt screen, we actually saw this come up in Discord, and it has been added to the list. If anybody wants to add anything to that, they're more than welcome to. But yep, it is added to the list. All right. Doesn't seem like any other comments on that. Next question. So I noticed in the UI the precision for gold is to the nearest thousandth, but the precision for crystal, locked crystal, and jewel is the nearest hundredth. Is there a reason for that?
I was going to wait for Fox to chime in on that one there. Yeah. So that was basically a decision made for gold. But whenever you make an ERC20, you can specify the number of decimals. It was chosen when that token was made to do 3. The most common one for ETH or other ERC20s is 18 decimals. So that's why the precision differs. You'll see like other tokens such as USDC and some of the stable coins have chosen to use 6. So it's just kind of an arbitrary decision. And then a lot of our in-game tokens that we don't really want to subdivide like tiers have 0 decimals, so they're just whole numbers only. So yeah, it's something you can kind of specify at the start, and then that precision gets kind of used throughout the life of the token. But yeah, for gold, it's 3. So you have to put in like 1,000 when you send just one. MetaMask take cares of that for you. So don't try to send 1,000 if you only want to send one in MetaMask. But on the blockchain, it would be 3. But yeah, anyway.
I'll just add that it sounded like the question was more for the UI as well, but I think for the UI, realistically, we could show it any way we want. And I'm not sure why it's different. Maybe Beetle Dude knows.
I mean, I guess we could give it a 3rd spot. I don't know. I think precedence perhaps is why it's that way, but it doesn't have to be. So yeah, no real reason that I can remember anyway.
Nice. I appreciate it. Let's see here. What is the DFK stance on partnering with projects that like to build on DFK chain and use the existing DFK ecosystem with tokens, NFTs, etc. in their projects? We love it. Please do. Let's go. Come on. We've said before our ultimate goal is to open up the chain. That is still our ultimate goal, but we want to make sure we do it right and do it safely. But in the meantime, anybody who wants to build on DFK chain, we have the build.defykingdoms.com site, and they can drop a note there on what they're wanting to do and get whitelisted. So we've seen, a handful of projects do that. Dragon's Crossing being the main one that built on chain using our assets. But there was also Merkley and Dapgate that added bridges from the provider who I just blanked on their name. Good Lord. The one that does our token bridge. Sorry. But yeah, so we are all for it. We love to see it. We want more people building on DFK chain. The goal of DFK chain is to, be a gaming chain ecosystem. So let's do this. Anything anybody wants to add to that?
I'll add something to it. Yeah, I mean, I just want to echo everything you said and also point out, there's a lot of really cool opportunities with blockchain gaming to interact with other projects in a very direct way. Like you can actually use other tokens, other NFTs and things in your game. And that brings it to a very real sense. It's just a lot easier to sort of like acquire new players right at the start from everyone who's already in that ecosystem, because the chain isn't just infrastructure, it's also a whole ecosystem. So like we are arguably one of the most active blockchain games out there that's actually on the blockchain, using the blockchain how I think it was meant to be used. And like we have a ton of active players, really good, strong, like community. So if you want to come and build a game and have basically instant access to a bunch of eager players that would probably go check it out right away, this is the perfect place for it. So for sure, encourage anyone who's in that position. If you have an idea for a game, if you know someone who's building it, ask them to like reach out to us, and we'll see what we're able to do with them.
Most definitely. And that goes for off-chain too. I talked about ADFK at the beginning, but ADFK is an off-chain game, but it is using DFK assets, using the heroes. So we're open to all of it. We love to see it. That's the goal of Web3, right? Also, shout out to the chat for reminding me of Layer Zero's name. Thank you. Yeah, Layer Zero was the bridge whose name I just could not remember for whatever reason. Are there partnerships like that at the moment? Excuse me, or negotiations with potential partners? I think I already kind of named all of the current ones, but yeah, we're always chatting with different folks about things that could be done. And if, like Fox said, if you know somebody who's looking, have them reach out to us. Let's see. So this third part of this question is a little more interesting and a little more outside of my depth. Can the DFK Gardens support incentivized pools of X and Y token pair with incentives in X that is not Crystal, Jade, or Jewel? Fox, that might be a
So it's a similar concept to what I've seen a lot of other dexes do. I can't remember what they're called. It seems like every dex has like another name for them. But basically, no, ours don't out of the box support that. Can we build those? Yeah, it's not like rocket science to set up a pool like that. But we just haven't yet. So yeah.
I'll also add that like the underlying LP token, it is just an ERC20. So if you wanted to, for example, like have your own like community token and have that minted out by staking LP, that's totally possible. You just have to take those LP tokens and have another contract to stake those in. So that you see that commonly with people using Uniswap LP, but then rewarding the staking of that elsewhere. So yeah, on the technical side of things, LP tokens are just another ERC20 you could build whatever you would want to on top of that with.
Yeah, it's essentially just creating like another gardens contract, like a master gardener contract, but for your project or for any project out there.
I'd just like to clarify that was all rocket science to me, but I'm glad that y'all know. Let's see. So, would it be possible to have a way to set up bulk sell basket for gold crops or things that we regularly sell? So basically, like bulking that transaction. I think really select the items and what you want to sell them for, and then have like a single click to sell those items. Going on Beetle Dude's list.
To say that I think that's definitely possible. We would need to upgrade our contracts to do it. So that might be another thing to add to our bulk list as we try to keep adding more and more things that you can do in bulk.
I'll also just say that a lot of our contracts, especially the ones that we've made recently, have a option for having like a multi-transact, even if they're not already implemented in the front end. And actually, shout out to Mr. Zipper, who has been implementing a lot of those in the front end on his spare time, which I don't think he sleeps. But yeah, that's how we usually do it.
Nice. Let's see. So there's a question about a physical card. We actually talked a little bit about that last week. That it is something that is doable. Just takes some time and resources, but could be really fun and something that we could be open to considering in the future, but probably would not be a short-term item. Let's see. Oh, Fox, I got a duels request for you. Can we add a disable class boosts option for private duels so that people can run tournaments without hitting the boosts?
That is a really good idea. Yeah, I'll add that to my list and see what we could do.
Nice. Let's see, Hubert. This might already kind of be known because now they're out, but that's okay. Is there any sort of role associated to amulets, like pets and percentages, or the same type of amulet will do the exact same thing?
Yeah, I don't know how many amulets have not been minted at this point, but there was randomness involved. Like the range of what they could do was based on randomness, and the high end was pretty rare. So I'm not even sure. There might be some of the amulets, like Scully's Eye, maybe didn't even have any that had like the highest possible number on it. I haven't really looked, but yes, to answer the question, there was randomness involved with minting those.
Nice. Deer, add it to the beetle list. I wish it could be possible to sort heroes by the pet ability that they are equipped with. So like Power Surge or something similar to that could be useful in the future too. Beetle, you're welcome to weigh in with thoughts. I will just add on that front, like there is a point where we end up with too many filters. And so, I do think we have to be conscientious about how many filters we have and how hard it is to find the right ones because of the number of them. But Beetle, if you have any thoughts on that, please feel free.
I'm nodding my head in agreement. Yeah, I think we can add it to the list, but to your point, I think there's probably a diminishing return at some point. But as long as they're not like colliding with each other and causing issues that way, I think it should be all right to add it to the list of options.
Nice. Let's see. As we move forward into seamless tech like the Holiday integration, what are the plans for continued support or integration of traditional wallet-based accounts? Will there be a required migration to a new wallet at some point? No, there will not be a required migration. We are not planning on, stopping support for MetaMask, for example. I would hesitantly say that we are, theoretically open to integrating other wallets in the future as well. It's not a super high priority because MetaMask is kind of what most people use, but we aren't opposed. But there will not be a required migration at any point. We have talked about it a little bit before, but we are working on or will be working on like a CNS Jewel delegation so that if you have CNS Jewel delegated in your wallet, but you want to use a different wallet, you can assign it over there to use there, which also opens the door just for, storing that in a cold wallet and playing on a different wallet. So really looking forward to that. There was also a follow-up question to that of how cold wallets will work with Holiday. And I tried to give a very clumsy answer, but now I'm going to let Magnus give a better one.
Yeah. So I'll chime in here. All of the Holiday wallets are smart contracts, and each one of those smart contracts has an owner. Currently, if you kind of just click the Holiday button, sign up, you've got a private key stored by a third-party provider, which I'm blanking on the name of that provider. In like the traditional flow, they handle all of that. But for the coming phases for Holiday integration, so that'd be like the phase 2. I think we're currently in phase 1 or 1.5. They're going to have the ability to basically switch that owner over to something more decentralized, like a traditional like a MetaMask signer, or you could also use a ledger as well, and then you get the benefits of having it on a hard wallet, and not just Ledger, but also Trezor and the whole suite of those. But you have the benefits of having that owner of that smart wallet be kind of an offline account, and then you'll have a session key that will have a period of time. I believe we have it at like 72 hours, and so you can basically authorize the smart wallet to do transactions for 72 hours with one signature of the hardware wallet, and then once that expires, you would just need to renew it. But until that, or while that token is active, you can continually use the Holiday wallet, just as it's currently being used now with the third party owner handling all that. So it's kind of a good like hybrid approach of being able to keep the owner safe, and then the smart contract is safe as well. And so but you get the UX benefits of the Holiday wallet as well. So just shout out to Holiday for the awesome cryptographic solutions they've done to make that all work and everything be secure there. So yeah, really cool technology, and been great partners so far.
Always a shout out to Halliday. Additionally, let's see, a filter or sort for heroes based on whether or not they have a pet equipped. Shout out to Dr. Zipper. That is in the works currently. So that'll be very useful for folks. Let's see. Where'd we go? There we are. So will durability be implemented for the boar hunt event? No durability is not there. Let's see. One more question on durability, Hubert, or actually two. Sorry, lied. First one, do you foresee a durability loss when swapping equipment between heroes, or would it just be the cooldown?
I think that'll just be the cooldown.
All right. And then will similar items with different rarities have different max durability?
That's very possible. I think that, yeah, that'll kind of come into the crafting system, but it has generally been my thought that higher rarities should have more durability than lower.
Very nice. I'm going to ask one more follow-up that I just thought of. Would you anticipate, so like say you have two rare party hats, would they have the same durability, or would there be part of the role for the equipment to determine durability?
I guess, yeah, party hats is maybe not a good example since those
It's
are
not.
out and fixed, but it could be that we do have some bonuses, some enchantments, some various things, pet bonuses, etc., that maybe add to like the max durability of an item as it's being created. So I do think that there will be likely kind of have more of a variability on that as we move forward. But for the time being, for things like rewards from hunts and from other things, I think it'll likely be a fixed value that you get.
Awesome. Very nice. Sorry. When Boar Hunt is released, will the skills chosen for participating heroes be temporary for this event or long-term selection? I think we talked on this before, and obviously now Boar Hunt is out, but it does remember them, it saves them, but they are not assigned on the blockchain, so you will be able to freely change them at will right now before they are officially put on chain. Let's see. Question for Dreamer. What is the expectation from Cryptos R Us, George, now that he's an advisor? Do we have planned regular meetings? Is he more focused on Mythic Swap or DFK, etc.?
Yeah, so he's our first official advisor, so we're kind of learning as we go as well. But the agreement is one that has ongoing communication. So we do have a Slack channel with him and his team. We've already done some things together. Cypherpunk was a big first one. Not only the invite to that event, the speaking spots, what was announced, but also just like the access to all the additional tickets and things. That was one example. He has Cryptos RS Plus or CRU Plus. That's like a channel meant for other creators that maybe we could find a way to collaborate there. We are updating him on things that we are building and putting out so that he's more like aware directly. I think Bolon spent, I don't know, an hour and a half with I believe Magnus was there, going over hunts and then everything else that ties into it, because he's always had his eye on DFK, but where now that he's an advisor, he's putting in a lot of time to understand like the current offerings and long-term vision. So that, I don't know, it might have even lasted longer than an hour and a half. I'm not sure. That was fully dedicated to DFK and kind of just getting up to speed. And then on the Mythic swap discussions, that's moving much slower. We actually just had a meeting with our lawyers where we talked about DFK and Mythic swap things that it's informing that process, but it's one that's much less frequent touch point. So I think we are probably going to be talking to George at least every other week on either DFK or Mythic swap, and I think since the announcement that has been consistent. But in reality, I think we go back and forth in DMs almost daily.
Awesome. Thank
So
you.
maybe I didn't get the expectations. Expectations is it's not only on like what his strength is in terms of like marketing in the space, but George has built a really good network as well. So from business development, marketing, strategizing, or if we have a question or need that we can't fix in the house or are wanting another opinion or a person to collaborate with, he can be a connector there, in addition to just being invested in what we're putting out and planning for and giving his opinion.
Most definitely. Thank you. Thank you, Dreamer. Appreciate it. Let's see. On the topic of delegation, so we talked about CNS Jewel a little bit. DFK being transaction heavy makes having a cold wallet kind of tricky. There are ways I think that Halliday might improve that, actually, like what Magnus was talking about. But thoughts on having more delegation features for things like gardens, land, maybe even heroes, etc.
I'll add some thoughts here. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. Actually, it's a thing that I think just improves security and is just a good practice, and it's a good way to sort of make a separation between like the active playing wallet and the holder of assets wallet. So yeah, I've been trying to push for something like that with the heroes and like the questing system for a while. I think it could give a lot of interesting use cases could stem from that. So that's one example. Meditation, other things. A lot of those will play into the expeditions system as well. So some of those we might be able to kill two birds with one stone. But yeah, I'll just say it is a thing that I'm interested in. I think we've talked about a lot.
Very nice. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Sorry, trying to catch up on get through some of the boar hunt questions that we've answered already. Thoughts on having at some point a dark summoning event, but also turning off the hero portal for that week or time frame of event. They said week. Sorry.
I think that's an interesting idea, though I do wonder. I think owners of Gen Zeros may be unhappy with something like that, since it basically prevents them from being able to summon at all. But it could be an interesting little experiment. I'm not sure. I think we'd have to talk about it some more.
I'll also mention probably something like that might entail a vote or something that does impact existing, already launched tokenomics for assets that our players hold.
Yeah, that's a very good point as well. Yeah, it is an interesting idea. Let's see. Probably a Beetle Dude question. Request to make it possible to customize and save filter settings in game.
Interesting. Yeah. I think we've played around a little bit with some local storage items. I think the main issue we've run into is like the different contexts. So pretty much any screen you're on maybe has a different context that you would want for that specific use case. But I mean, I think if we had like just some presets that people could like reload, I think that would be doable and easy enough, and they can just let the user decide what preset makes sense for them and in which screen. So yeah, I mean, I like the idea. I think it goes into our like idea of hero tagging and things like that that we just haven't had quite enough time to put effort into quite yet. But I think that's a good additional item that we could add there when we get to that point. Add it to the list. Just give you a thumbs up or thumbs down whether we add it to the list or not.
There we go. As we evolve PvP and PvE in the future, have we considered like dual or triple moves? For example, a wizard and a knight could have a combo where the wizard lights the knight's sword on fire for its next attack.
Ooh, that sounds fun. And also, I'm sure Beetle is just cringing deeply thinking about implementing that.
Just a light grimace.
A light grimace. Yeah, I think that is a cool idea. It might be something that we look at kind of further down the line. I think first and foremost, we just want to make sure that each of the heroes have, a similar-ish power level and, kind of balanced within their realm of behavior. And something like combo attacks could be something we add later as just like, oh yeah, if you have this skill and this skill, you can do this thing like that. That's pretty cool, but also a lot of work to get to that. So definitely not going to be something that we prioritize, or I'm not sure I could even guarantee we would do it. But in general, I do like that idea. Chrono Trigger is one of my favorite games, and I loved that aspect about it. And it'd be cool to be able to take some inspiration from them on things like that. But again, something that would be very far down the road if we were ever to do something like that.
And balancing would be a nightmare.
Yeah. I'll also say it sounds like those are kind of two separate things in a way. Like one aspect of it could be just enchantments, or essentially buffs. Like you could have one character do a buff for another character as a fire sword, but then having some of your combos trigger off of other characters' skills that have just been used, or that are even off of other like passives. This could be cool.
I knew mentioning a flaming sword would get everybody excited and thinking about how to do it, so that's why I slid it in there. Let's see. So I think we will call it there for today. We did get through a decent number of our backlog of questions, which is good. So happy about that. But I wanted to give a couple minutes for any final thoughts, and then obviously have people be able to get back to their days. So for me, I'll just, as always, say thank you to everybody who is involved in these AMAs, listening to us, submitting questions, answering questions. Really appreciate all of you guys. Don't ape into broken mechanics. As you've seen, we will fix them. So don't bother. But yeah, other than that, super stoked for the future. Anybody have any final thoughts? I won't go around the horn and make everybody talk, but we will end with Pieface for a bullish because we have her on an AMA and that's rare. So we're going to make her bullish.
I'll just add a quick thought. Today we're very focused on questions. AMAs are really meant to be a forum where we collect questions and respond. Sometimes we get on and we have updates or other topics and things, and a lot of this gets taken up by that, which is fun and necessary as well. But I'm glad that we could kind of drive through some of that backfill. Great job, Bolon, and everybody else that is answering those kind of rapid fire questions. just want to like remind people and encourage them, please continue to submit those questions. And if there are hard questions, please submit those too. I think we have gotten in a rhythm of a lot of fun and nice questions, and we love those. If there are questions to be asked, then they're going to be offline or on streams or otherwise, but they're not happening here. It's a little hard for us to chase those topics. So we all want to be respectful and constructive, but we also want to be transparent and make sure that this is the source of truth for any of those questions that are out there. And as much as we can answer them, then we will. So thank you everybody for being active in these AMAs, for submitting questions, for doing the summaries and the streams and everything after. It's really incredible work that everybody's putting in, not only the team of building, but the team of building the community and playing and just being excited. So I think a lot of people on the team I've noticed have been pretty pleased with how people are having fun with hunts, and I hope people continue to. The hinted to adjustment to hunt rewards is something I'm really excited about, so that it's not only fun, but it's progressive and rewarding as well. So look forward to all of that. Just wanted to give a shout out to you, Bolan, for organizing this and getting through so many questions today. As that's kind of the core purpose of these.
Appreciate you. Anybody else have any final thoughts they want to throw in?
I'll just say that I'm so proud of the equipment system that was built and launched. It's just this amazing thing that's been a long time coming, but having NFTs that are augmentable is just so huge from a play perspective, but also from like a tech perspective. I'm just so excited about it. And then of course it just has like so much synergy with every vertical inside of our business as well, and like inside of our project. So excited for that stuff, and also excited about the adjustments being made to the hunt drops, because I'm also in the club of just the one tier. So stoked about that. I'm gonna keep grinding. Thanks.
Appreciate you, Fox. Last call. Anybody else? All right. Pie Face, over to you.
Yay! Awesome. Can people see my little pie gif talking? It's really cute. But yeah, I'm so grateful for everybody. I hope I'm in the correct multiverse so that everybody can hear me. Because I would just like to say how it's just so incredible that we have this community. There's a lot of people all around the world who have connected with each other that we otherwise wouldn't have if it wasn't for DFK. And lots of great friends. We're all traveling around to certain crypto events and meet each other. And I'm excited to continue to meet everybody else in the community as we make our way to other events as well, and coming up in 2024. And it's just very, very wholesome. And I think this DFK bubble community that we have created is just very uplifting, and I appreciate everybody's support and patience throughout all of this. And I love all of the boar hunting and seeing everybody get some awesome loot, or even if it's just one guy's tier, but just that one tier it's to be cherished. But yeah, I'm so grateful for just how far we've come, and I appreciate everybody who's been here along the way, wherever you've come and entered into the DFK realms. So yeah, and with that, I'll leave everybody to continue their days with a bullish.
Bullish.
Relish.
Bullish. Thanks, guys.
See y'all next
Bye.